Eleanor shuffled through a box of old trinkets, each piece pulling her back to moments long gone, moments that now felt more like anchors than treasures. "Why am I holding on to this?" she whispered, her voice barely audible amidst the silence of her home. Does this sound familiar? Many of us, like Eleanor, find ourselves trapped in a web of possessions and habits, yearning for clarity. Today, we'll uncover 10 minimalist rules seniors swear by to reclaim joy and simplicity, starting with the first step, letting go. 1. Declutter your space. Clutter doesn't just take up physical space. It consumes mental and emotional energy. Seniors often accumulate a lifetime of possessions, each item tied to a memory or a person. Eleanor started small, tackling a single drawer in her kitchen. She found a mix of mismatched utensils, some bent and rusted, others unused gifts from years ago. At first, she hesitated. What if I need this someday? She wondered. But as she placed the items she truly used into one pile and donated the rest, she felt lighter. Start small. Choose a single area, a drawer, a shelf, or a small closet. Use the 3-box method. 1 box for keeping, 1 for donating, and 1 for discarding. Handle each item and ask, does this add value to my life today? Eleanor discovered that decluttering wasn't about throwing things away. It was about creating room for what truly mattered. With fewer things crowding her space, she began to notice how peaceful her home felt. As she cleared her clutter, Eleanor felt a sense of accomplishment. Her stress levels dropped, and she found joy in the simplicity of her surroundings. 2. Focus on quality over quantity. Eleanor's decluttering journey led her to an old cabinet filled with chipped coffee mugs and mismatched plates. Among them, she found her favorite ceramic mug, one she hadn't used in years because it had been buried under the clutter. Why did I keep all these extras when this one brings me so much joy? She wondered. This realization became her mantra: fewer, better things. By replacing disposable or low-quality items with durable, meaningful ones, she embraced a lifestyle that prioritized quality over excess. Assess what you own. Identify items you use and love, and let go of the rest. Invest in versatile, durable products. For example, Eleanor replaced her array of cheap kitchen tools with a few high-quality multi-purpose items. Focus on what brings joy. Surround yourself with items that evoke happiness and have purpose. Eleanor's days became easier. She no longer spent time searching for the right utensil or dealing with cluttered countertops. Instead, she enjoyed her simple, efficient space. By focusing on quality, Eleanor felt less burdened by choice and more in tune with what truly mattered. Her surroundings reflected her values, making her feel both confident and content. 3. Create a capsule wardrobe. One morning, Eleanor stood in front of her overflowing closet, frustrated. Despite having countless outfits, she felt like she had nothing to wear. That's when she decided to embrace the concept of a capsule wardrobe, a curated collection of versatile clothing pieces that matched her lifestyle and preferences. Eleanor began by laying all her clothes on her bed and sorting them. She kept the pieces that fit well, were comfortable, and made her feel confident. The rest she donated to charity. What remained was a small but powerful wardrobe that made dressing each day a breeze. Remove items you haven't worn in a year or that no longer fit. Select a few neutral, high-quality basics that can be mixed and matched. Include a few pieces that reflect your style, like a colorful scarf or a favorite accessory. Comfortable, well-fitting trousers in neutral colors. A few solid colored tops in fabrics that feel good on the skin. A cardigan or jacket for layering. Sturdy, stylish shoes suitable for various activities. Eleanor found herself smiling more when she opened her closet. The stress of choosing what to wear had disappeared, replaced by the joy of simplicity. A capsule wardrobe offered Eleanor not just simplicity, but confidence. She loved knowing every piece in her closet served her well. Her mornings started with ease, leaving more time for the things she truly enjoyed. 4. Streamline your schedule. Eleanor had always been a busy bee. Between volunteer work, family visits, and book club meetings, her calendar left little room to breathe. At first, this constant activity felt fulfilling, but over time, it became draining. One day, after accidentally double booking herself for lunch and a doctor's appointment, she realized it was time to take control. Eleanor began by writing down everything on her schedule for the week. Looking at the list, she asked herself, which of these activities bring me joy? Which feel like obligations I've outgrown? She decided to prioritize quality over quantity, focusing on meaningful engagements. List out your recurring commitments and upcoming activities. Does this activity make you happy? Does it align with your current values? Politely decline invitations or responsibilities that feel overwhelming or unnecessary. By consciously choosing her activities, Eleanor found herself with newfound time to relax, take a walk in the park, or simply sit with a good book. Streamlining her schedule gave Eleanor a sense of control and peace. She no longer felt rushed or overburdened, which made her more present and engaged in the things she truly enjoyed. 5. Let go of toxic relationships. As Eleanor worked to simplify her life, she began noticing the toll certain relationships had taken on her well-being. A longtime friend, Betty, had always been critical and dismissive of Eleanor's choices. Every conversation left Eleanor feeling drained and questioning herself. After much reflection, Eleanor realized she didn't need to keep relationships in her life that brought negativity. It wasn't easy, but she decided to set boundaries with Betty and focus on nurturing relationships that uplifted her instead. Do you feel energized or drained after spending time with this person? Politely, but firmly communicate your limits. Invest your time in relationships that support and encourage you. Eleanor began spending more time with her friend Carol, whose warm and encouraging nature always left her smiling. Their weekly coffee dates became a highlight of her simplified life. Letting go of toxic relationships allowed Eleanor to feel more valued and respected. She no longer carried the emotional weight of negativity and found joy in the company of those who truly cared for her. 6. Embrace gratitude and mindfulness. One morning, Eleanor sat by her window, a cup of tea warming her hands. She watched the sunrise paint the sky in hues of orange and pink, and for the first time in years, she felt completely at peace. It wasn't the tea, the view, or the silence. It was her newfound practice of gratitude and mindfulness. Eleanor had started keeping a gratitude journal after hearing about its benefits from a friend. Each evening, she wrote down 3 things she was grateful for, no matter how small. Some days it was the kindness of a stranger. Other days, it was the simple pleasure of her favorite meal. Write down 3 things you're grateful for each day. Take a few minutes to focus on your breath, grounding yourself in the present moment. Find a simple activity, like morning tea or an evening walk, and fully immerse yourself in the experience. This practice helped Eleanor savor the beauty in her life that she had previously overlooked. Her mornings became a time for reflection and appreciation, setting a positive tone for the day. Gratitude and mindfulness brought Eleanor a deeper sense of peace and contentment. She felt more connected to the present moment and more aware of the abundance in her life. 7. Spend intentionally. Eleanor had always prided herself on being thrifty, but she often found herself purchasing little things she didn't need. An extra scarf here, a new set of decorative bowls there. They're small, she'd tell herself, and they make me happy. But over time, these purchases began to add up, not only in cost, but also in clutter. One afternoon, Eleanor decided to take a hard look at her spending. She laid out her recent receipts and bank statements and was shocked to see how many of her purchases were impulse buys. "How many scarves do I actually wear?" she thought, shaking her head. From that day on, she committed to spending with intention. Write down every purchase for a month to understand where your money is going. If you see something you want, add it to a wish list and wait a week. Often, the urge to buy will pass. Prioritize spending on experiences, like a day trip or a class, over material goods. By focusing on what truly added value to her life, Eleanor found she had more money for the things that genuinely mattered. She saved for a weekend getaway with her daughter and felt the joy of creating lasting memories instead of accumulating more possessions. Spending intentionally gave Eleanor a renewed sense of purpose and control. She felt less guilt over wasted money and more satisfaction knowing her purchases aligned with her values. 8. Downsize Your Living Space. For years, Eleanor's house had been her pride and joy. It was where she raised her children and hosted countless family celebrations. But as she walked through its empty rooms, she realized it was now too big for her needs. Cleaning and maintaining the house had become a daunting task, and the thought of downsizing started to feel more like a gift than a loss. Eleanor began by making a list of what she truly needed in a home: a cozy space to host occasional visitors, easy access to amenities, and a location close to her favorite coffee shop. After visiting a few options, she found a charming apartment that felt just right. Think about your current lifestyle and what you truly need in a home. Reduce the items you'll need to move by keeping only what's essential or meaningful. Remind yourself of the time, energy, and financial savings a smaller space offers. Moving wasn't without its challenges, but as Eleanor settled into her new home, she felt a deep sense of relief. She loved the simplicity of her smaller space, where every corner was filled with items she loved and used. Downsizing gave Eleanor the freedom to live more comfortably and with less stress. She felt lighter, knowing her space was manageable and perfectly suited to her needs. 9. Simplify financial management. Managing finances had always been a source of anxiety for Eleanor. The stack of paper bills, online statements, and auto-pay reminders felt overwhelming. She often worried she might forget something important, leading to unnecessary stress. Determined to simplify, Eleanor started by organizing her financial documents. She set up a folder for essential paperwork, canceled unused subscriptions, and automated her recurring payments. "Why didn't I do this sooner?" she thought, amazed at how much time and energy she saved. Minimize the number of accounts you manage to reduce confusion. Opt for electronic statements and notifications to keep things organized. Set up automatic payments for regular expenses like utilities and insurance. With her finances in order, Eleanor found she could focus on the things that brought her joy instead of worrying about due dates and account balances. Simplifying her financial management brought Eleanor peace of mind. She felt secure knowing her finances were in control, freeing her to enjoy her retirement without unnecessary stress. 10th, practice digital minimalism. Eleanor had always thought of technology as a gift, a way to stay connected with family and explore new hobbies. But over time, her inbox filled with unread emails, her phone buzzed with endless notifications, and social media became more draining than uplifting. "Why do I feel so tethered to these devices?" she wondered one evening after scrolling aimlessly for hours. She decided to regain control by implementing digital minimalism. First, she cleared out her email inbox, unsubscribing from newsletters she never read, and organizing important messages into folders. Then, she turned off non-essential notifications, leaving her phone blissfully quiet. Finally, she set boundaries for her screen time, choosing a few hours each day to be entirely tech-free. Eliminate email clutter by unsubscribing from unnecessary mailing lists. Keep only the alerts that truly matter, like calls or messages from family. Dedicate specific times of the day to unplug from screens completely. After a few weeks, Eleanor noticed the difference. Her mind felt clearer, and her days seemed longer, filled with the things she truly enjoyed: reading, gardening, and catching up with friends over coffee. Digital minimalism brought Eleanor a sense of freedom she hadn't realized she craved. By reducing digital noise, she felt more present in her life and more connected to the world around her. 11. Build a supportive community. Simplifying life doesn't mean going it alone. Eleanor realized that much of her joy came from the people she surrounded herself with: her supportive daughter, her kind neighbor, and her lifelong friend Carol. But she also knew there were others who might benefit from the journey she was on. Eleanor decided to create a minimalist group at her local community center, inviting others to share their experiences, challenges, and tips. At first, she worried no one would show up, but to her surprise, the room filled with people eager to simplify their lives. They shared stories of letting go, of the peace they'd found, and of the small victories that kept them going. Share your journey with friends, family, or neighbors, and invite them to join you. Find like-minded individuals in local clubs or online communities. Share successes, big and small, to inspire and uplift one another. Through this group, Eleanor not only deepened her own journey, but also inspired others to embark on theirs. The sense of connection and mutual encouragement became one of the most fulfilling aspects of her new lifestyle. Building a community gave Eleanor a sense of belonging and purpose. She felt inspired by the stories of others and proud to see her own journey making a difference. 12. Celebrate your progress. As Eleanor reflected on her journey, she realized how far she had come. What once seemed overwhelming, decluttering her home, simplifying her routines, letting go of toxic relationships, was now part of a life that felt lighter, freer, and more joyful. But instead of rushing to the next goal, she paused to celebrate her progress. Eleanor decided to treat herself to a special dinner with her daughter, using the good china she'd once thought about discarding. They laughed, reminisced, and toasted to the simpler, happier life Eleanor had built. Write down the changes you've made and how they've improved your life. Reward yourself with something meaningful, like a dinner, a trip, or a new book. Inspire others by talking about your journey and the lessons you've learned. Taking time to acknowledge her progress reminded Eleanor that minimalism wasn't a destination, but a journey, a series of steps that brought her closer to a life filled with purpose and peace. Celebrating her journey gave Eleanor a sense of pride and fulfillment. It reminded her that even small changes could lead to profound transformations, encouraging her to keep moving forward. 13. Prioritize self-care. Eleanor often put herself last. She had spent decades caring for others, her children, her husband, her friends, while her own needs took a back seat. But now, with a simplified schedule and fewer distractions, she decided it was time to change that. She began by creating a small morning routine, just for herself. Each day, she'd wake up, stretch gently, and sit by the window with her tea, savoring the quiet. Some mornings, she'd read an inspiring book. Other days, she'd write in her gratitude journal. Dedicate 15 to 30 minutes each day to an activity you love. Whether it's a walk, yoga, or simply resting, pay attention to what you need. Treat self-care like any other important appointment and make it non-negotiable. Through this simple practice, Eleanor found herself feeling more energized and at peace. She learned that self-care wasn't selfish, It was essential for living a happy, balanced life. Prioritizing self-care gave Eleanor a sense of renewal and well-being. It reminded her that nurturing herself was key to being her best self for others. 14. Explore new passions. Eleanor had always dreamed of painting. As a young girl, she loved to sketch, but life's responsibilities had pushed those dreams aside. One day, encouraged by her newfound time and confidence, she signed up for a beginner's painting class at her local community center. At first, she felt nervous. What if I'm no good at this anymore? She thought. But the moment she picked up a brush, something awakened within her. She loved mixing colors, experimenting with strokes, and simply being present in the creative process. Think back to hobbies or dreams you had as a child or young adult. Don't be afraid to explore activities you've never done before. Cooking classes, music lessons, or gardening workshops. Focus on enjoying the process rather than achieving perfection. Eleanor's weekly painting classes became a highlight of her routine, connecting her with a group of like-minded creatives and reigniting her sense of wonder. Exploring new passions brought Eleanor a sense of purpose and joy. It reminded her that it's never too late to learn, grow, and discover. 15. Create a legacy. As Eleanor reflected on her minimalist journey, she began to think about the mark she wanted to leave behind. What lessons had she learned, and how could she pass them on to her family and community? Eleanor decided to write a collection of letters to her grandchildren, sharing her life experiences, the wisdom she'd gained, and the joys of living simply. She also began organizing her photo albums, creating labeled boxes for each of her children so they could treasure the family's history, write letters, record videos, or keep a journal to pass on your experiences and values. Curate meaningful items, like photos or heirlooms, and pass them on thoughtfully. Volunteer, mentor, or share your knowledge with others to make a lasting impact. As she sealed the last letter, Eleanor felt a profound sense of fulfillment. Creating her legacy wasn't about leaving behind things. It was about leaving behind love, memories, and inspiration. Building her legacy gave Eleanor a sense of purpose and connection. It reminded her that her life and the lessons she'd learned would continue to inspire those she loved. All right, my fabulous minimalist in the making, doesn't life feel lighter already? If Eleanor can transform her clutter into calm, so can you. Now it's your turn. Pick one tip, dive in, and watch the magic happen. Got a favorite? Share it below. Let's swap stories, cheer each other on, and keep it simple, sister.